There we can be on mute, right? On video and audio.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Vinay sir is also there online. Vinay sir, he's the CEO of Encore Technologies. He's our board member also. He's also on call. Vinay sir, are you there? I can see him. Yeah.
See his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please
All right. Okay. Very good evening to all. Hearty welcome to this webinar on the interesting topic, the new world of work. In fact, this is the instant title given by our beloved chairman. When I asked him, sir, what should we give the title to this webinar? He, without blinking, he said, it should be the new world of work. Okay. So here we are, interesting topic, interesting discussion. We have eminent panelists from the industries representing AI technology, information technology, manufacturing, retail, and healthcare, who will be sharing their perspectives on what is the meaning of the real new world of work. Okay. If I go back in history, we have seen many inventions which are termed as general
seminar.
If you go back in history, we have seen many inventions which are termed as general purpose technologies. Just to quote an example, steam engine was invented long time back, and it revolutionized the entire transportation world and hence the economy of the world. If we look at telephony invention, it revolutionized the communication world all the way up to the internet technology that we are living with today. If you look at electric bulb, it revolutionized the way the electricity was used, the light was used, and transformation that it did to the world. Today, we are living in the generation where artificial intelligence as a technology is perceived as a general purpose technology of our era. So how is it going to transform our work? What is the disruption it is going to bring in the industry? How are we going to witness the change in jobs that we are already seeing in the world? How it is impacting the industries? How are the business leaders looking at this technology coming in? There is a lot of fear in the minds of people that it is going to take away jobs. Automation is what is driven by the technologies like AI, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and so on. Is it really going to take away the job, or it is going to create new opportunities, new skills, new way of looking at things? These are the questions to be answered. We have the eminent people today who have seen the industry, who are living with digital transformation as we speak, who can share their perspectives and views and give us an insight into what we can expect as the new world of work. So to set the context, I would like to invite our chairman, Professor J. Philip, who is the founder of this great institution, Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship. Professor Philip is a father figure for all of us. We proudly call him the Peter Drucker of India, the management guru. In fact, his total management experience is more than my age. He has just completed 60 years of his teaching experience, teaching and learning experience in the industry. And he is young, energetic, bright, who is guiding us constantly on day-to-day basis. In fact, I would say he is the architect of this webinar as well. Okay. And without wasting time, I now invite Professor Philip to share the context and take it forward.
Thank you, Ashwath. Thank you for the kind words. Nice words. Good evening, panelists. Good evening, viewers, faculty, professionals, and friends. We got into this seminar when I read an article from McKinsey, where they said that from Mumbai to Manchester, this topic of technology is being animatedly discussed. So when I read that, I said, look, we haven't discussed it, we haven't debated it, so let me go into that. And I went through that article more. And then I realized that there are a lot of doomsaying people, doomsters, saying that, look, catastrophe is facing us, going to face us. Some are very enthusiastic and optimistic. Some are fence sitters. And some countries like the US and China are pumping billions of dollars into technology for competitive advantage. In a sense, we have moved from hot war to cold war to limited war to trade war to cyber war and finally today to soft war. Some doomsayers predict a job loss on account of technologies of 400 million. I'm sure you know that. That is equal, 400 million worldwide. That is equal to 80% of the total workforce of India. It's expected to be some 500 million. Some US watchers and EU watchers say that in the United States and the 15 core European Union countries, there are 285 million adults who are not in the labor force. There are no job for them. And at least 100 million of them would like to work more. Let me quote a few paragraphs from this article about which I mentioned. The McKinsey article says the world of work is in a state of flux, of course, which you all know, which is causing considerable anxiety. And with a good reason. There is growing polarization of labor market opportunities between high and low skill jobs, unemployment and underemployment, especially among young people. If you look at some of the European countries like Spain, miserable. Stagnating incomes for a large proportion of households and income inequality. Migration, which we have seen in India. Migration and its effects on jobs has become a sensitive, we have said, political issue in many advanced economies and even developing economies. They continue saying that the development of automation enabled by technologies, including robotics and artificial intelligence, brings the promise of higher productivity, increased efficiencies, safety, and convenience. But these technologies also raise difficult questions about the broader impact of automation on jobs, skills, wages, and the nature of work itself. They have some comments on education, very interesting one. Education system have not kept pace with the changing nature of work, resulting in many employers saying they cannot find enough workers with the skills they need. In a McKinsey survey of young people and employers in 9 countries, 40% of employers said lack of skills was the main reason for entry-level job vacancies. 60% said the new graduates were not adequately prepared for the world of work. Now, some interesting observation. We know that there are gaps in technical skills, but they add, and I thought should make us reflect, but in soft skills such as communication, teamwork, and interestingly, they added punctuality. McKinsey article talks about this. First time I see in a management article somebody mentioning about punctuality. You can look at the number of people now and the number of people coming in. Punctuality. Now, some ardent supporters quoting a French study, the people who lost jobs because of the IT revolution and the jobs that created. They say that as technology displaces, which is well known, they create jobs. On balance, economies will only be net gainers. But both the schools agree on a few basics. The basics are reskilling or upskilling of workers and urgent and continuing tasks. 1. 2. Provide social security net for workers. 3. Management should introduce technology only in a judicious fashion. 4. Government should help and support workers during their transmissions from one work to another or during the training period. 5. Stresses and strains. This was an interesting thing which I saw in the US situation, a Canadian situation. Stresses and strains on vulnerable workers will be heavy, and thus mental health is going to be a bigger issue than ever in the new technology world. Let me take a last piece from another interesting article that came from somebody from Department of Health of the US. He and another author said, technological change, it's interesting observation, technological change will continue to impact all work and non-work periods and over our entire working life. So he said technological change will continue to impact all work and non-work periods and the entire period of our working life. So to the youngsters, I will say, this is what you are going to see and feel. And more of it will come from our distinguished panelists, 5 of them. Let me introduce the first speaker, Dr. Bala Muralidhar, P. Bala Muralidhar, who is a principal scientist and head of TCS Research and Innovation Lab at TCS. He studied in India, including IIT Kanpur, but took his PhD from Denmark, Aalborg University. Dr. Muralidhar has 30 years of research experience, 150 publications, but something which is fabulous. That is, he has in his name 40 patents, which I thought was something really, somebody can be proud, the country can be proud. Somebody getting 40 patents, I'm sure some of them will be international patents. His previous research careers were with Samir Bombay and Saskin Communications. I looked at the awards and accolades that he got. Again, something really one can be proud of. Dr. Muralidhar has received TCS Distinguished Scientist Award 2020. He is also a recipient of 2 Tata InnoVista Awards. But to crown it all, he was also awarded what is called a Serial Innovator Award from the Tata Group itself, Serial Innovator. So I welcome a serial innovator of India, Dr. Bala Muralidhar, to speak to us as the first from the panel. Dr. Bala.
So thank you, sir, for this great platform to talk, and then a great introduction. And then I thought it's as the subject of today, I think we should not get into a hype, I think. So I come from a technology background, and then what I will do is probably use one slide to speak over. Okay. Just a minute. Just hope you can see my slide, right?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, thank you. So, so this topic is very, very interesting from a technology perspective, as well as from an application and then industry and business perspective. And it is highly talked about. And also it is a bit of controversy around. People have different views around. So what I'm going to do is that give a brief technology perspective, what is the realism there, and then conclude with a few of my observations. So first is really look at what is AI itself. So we know that AI has many aspects, and then predominantly what is being talked about is on machine learning, and there are no other aspects of it in terms of computer vision, natural language processing, smart robotics, virtual agents, and many conversational agents, and then many avatars of artificial intelligence in foremost. So one of the most talked about and impactful is basically on the machine learning perspective. So that will involve the kind of tasks that are classification, pattern recognition, continuous estimation, clustering, optimization, ranking, recommendation, and planning, and more importantly, generation of data and content and synthesis. So these are the basic kind of, a few of them I highlighted here, are the things which are really required for decision making. So how a machine or a human makes decision with some of these human intelligence faculties. And some of these things are basically are the field of play of AI. And then that is getting applied in automation, various automation tasks on decision making, especially in the information gathering and management, transportation, manufacturing, retail, business analytics, testing, marketing, sales, in a variety of jobs. This is basically being utilized, and then the development is also going forward. This also need to be looked at its artificial intelligence, and then by looking at these capabilities, they are just mere components, but not a job by itself. So a job is made out of several components, and then that is put in the context of process, workflow, and also the kind of business model, and then the technology perspective. So that makes it a job from this. So there are now several kind of impacts are there. A few of them I'll mention. So from the research wing, and then the research ecosystem, some of these things what you are hearing, I'll just pick up a few of them here. One is code generation from textual description. So this is work from OpenAI, and where you just give a textual description of a GUI, right? And then with that textual description, this system will be able to generate the real GUI. So what example has been shown is that description of a Google web page and facing page, and then given in a textual description, it has generated this kind of a system, a GUI there, right? Another aspect, detection and repair of buggy program. So a program is there detecting the bug, and not only detecting the bug has been there for quite a long time. But repairing it with the level of of the developer intelligence is a big task. And how we can really achieve by the appropriate pattern matching, pattern recognition, and replacing, and then even composition and synthesizing techniques that are being used by some of the capabilities which I mentioned. Another one is convert my code into one programming language to other language. Many of the software professionals basically work in many of these areas, and they take a lot of time consumption. Are there efforts are put in to do this one language to another language because of the compatibility with the legacy system or the new system, or even reuse of some of the code to or the code segments to or the libraries in the new application development situations. So how you basically generate, this is also an OpenAI work that has been demonstrated this year, then how you efficiently generate code generation, also translate from one language to another. When you look at the computer vision, what is today is that there is using the AI deep learning applications, different kind of systems and models, with the transfer learning, with the captioning, and many of those kind of techniques, you can basically identify, segment, and then understand the world, and then creating a scene graph, and which is a great capability which is required for robotic automation. And then even many of the computer vision tasks which are used by several industries. And also the some of the robotics as well as the driverless vehicles, autonomous vehicle systems now require a 3D representation of the world to be captured in real time with a level of object identification and their intention identification and then many of those intelligence. And those things are really possible in real time for even fusing with LiDAR data with the visual data. Another work reported this year is basically like if you give a partial information, how do you really autocomplete it? So given a partial information like an imagery, and then in that scene, this AI system is basically filling it up with the previous experience and previous exposure. Another one which I mentioned is a content generation, creating a tennis match video between any players. So these are virtual characters which are embodied and then modeled with real life players and their behaviors, and you can leave them into a match, in a virtual match, and then those avatars will basically start playing. It's very interesting. How do you really generate? Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. We are not sure whether you are changing the slides because we are not able to.
Yes, yeah, I am changing my slides.
We are not able to. Yeah, we are not able to see the changing slides.
Oh.
Maybe, sir, you have to project it and then change the slides. I think it's not in the projection mode.
I am actually, okay. Let me see.
Good that you mentioned.
Are you able to see?
Now I can see the different slides, sir. Maybe if you can put it on projection mode, it would help.
Slideshow, Bala?
Slideshow mode.
Yeah, it is in the slideshow mode now. Now you are not seeing?
Yeah, no. Change the slide there. If we can change it, if you can
see, we can see your screen. We can see the presentation, but not in the presentation mode. We can just see it. It's okay. We can do with this if you can't put it on.
Okay.
You go to view and do presentation.
Yeah. I have put it in the presentation mode.
Just go up to view. Slideshow. You see slideshow at the top?
Yeah. I can see the full screen mode.
Press slideshow.
Yeah, I'm putting it only. So I can see the full.
Bala, you can quickly mail that presentation to me. I'll share it from my side.
What is the situation now? Are you able to?
Oh, yeah. Sir, what you can do, Bala sir, you stop sharing this and you start sharing your screen itself, and then whatever you do on the screen will be visible to everyone. Instead of sharing the presentation, you share the screen itself, sir.
For his presentation.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Now you can.
Now you put your presentation. Put it to full screen.
Can you see full screen?
All that you have to do is to now go
you
to.
You just open your presentation and starts.
Yeah, I have already put up open the presentation because I used to do it several times. I don't know why this time it's not working.
Bala, quickly send it to me. I will share it from this side.
Oh, okay. Sorry for creating this. Or I'll just complete my.
You continue, sir. Maybe that is a
Continue,
good
brother.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can stop
So
sharing.
you
and,
cannot see this right at all, I mean, say?
Now
no,
only-
whatever one slide, whatever you share, we will be able. We are seeing slide changes. We are not able to see.
You're not able to see the slide change. Okay. Okay, I'll just a minute. Give me that. Okay, I'll continue my presentation.
continue,
in
sir.
this short
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I'll
Yes, sir.
do that. Sorry if you have. I hope you can see at least now part of the slide, right?
Right now, we are able to see the screen where you have presented detection and repair for buggy program. Now it is fine, sir. Now you can continue.
Now it's okay. Bala.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Then continuing. So what I was talking about is that how to really use virtual avatars and then people behaviors and then putting it and then doing virtual actions and virtual plays, and then how do you really do that kind of animation characters and then with their embedded behaviors. At the same time, another dimension of content generation is there. How do you really, with the priming of the original scenes and then priming into using that to generate a new faces and people avatar. So this is called a deep fake. The outcome what you're seeing is there. And then so this also opens up a challenge where we don't know how to really distinguish between the real and then the fake. And then so that is a big problem in some of this content generation, near realistic kind of the data that is being generated and content that being generated, fake detection. Now moving to the robotics. Robotics also witnessing several the technology enhancements and then the disruptions. So you can see the robots that having the capability of expressing emotions and variety of manipulation capabilities, variety of mobility capabilities, both hard robotics and soft robotics, and then many of those. And with which the capability of doing physical work in multitudes of ways that has been demonstrated. So look at one case where the robotics applications are highly being utilized in transporting materials and then people, right? So this kind of logistics and then supply chain contributions that's coming from robotics deployment is coming in a big way, and many of the areas really getting like whether it's in a retail, whether it's in a warehouses, and then many of those areas are really witnessing these kind of innovations. Not only that, is basically getting into the last mile delivery systems. These kind of systems are getting appearing from a technology perspective. There is also a talk, and then even this was a demonstrator from a University of Liverpool, and later IBM also has demonstrated robot scientists how to automate even the scientific workflows, the process of discovery, scientific experiments using a robot. There, the AI agent basically will generate various experimental workflows and then pass it on to a robot to really do that in the scientist desktop or even the laboratory, and then synthesize or really conduct those experiments and note the observations and then doing it. So there are several very interesting work happening in that dimensions. So there is a book like the Globotics Upheaval, and then which is a previous book is Great Convergence, written by Richard Baldwin.
Yeah, I think we, sir, sir, you're on mute, sir. Ganesh, sir, Bala, sir.
Can you hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. So I don't know how it automatically goes. Okay, sure.
He's gone again or what? No.
He's not speaking. He's sharing it.
Yeah, so I was talking about the globotics, and this is the kind of the observation he is really making. Which is a powerful observation. And in an earlier work, and then even the same book, he also emphasizes that there is a new way of work basically coming in. It's not a new way, but combining AI plus the robotics, there is an ability to do physical work remotely. So we have telepresence. And then how with combining that with the ability to do actions remotely generates a new kind of jobs, which is calling even virtual offshoring or a telemigration. That means a workforce that's basically available in a different part of the world can really do a physical job at the other end. This kind of a concept really likely to get a great traction with the advent of the advanced communication infrastructure, and then the mechanical the whole combined capability of robotics, and then like 5G and then upcoming 6G and or that technology coming up, right? So, for example, this company had demonstrated Phantom Auto. They basically uses a fleet of forklifts truck, basically working in a warehouse, doing several operations, but now sitting at a remote terminal. This kind of an operational terminals basically can come up to do a remote work. And then, but at the same time, while the many positive things are there, but there is also some realities are there. For example, see this news: Walmart abundance plan to have robots check store inventories, right? So they have deployed in a big way these kind of robots, what you see for checking inventories, autonomously moving around and doing it. But due to several technical glitches and then accidents created by them, the whole fleet has been withdrawn. This also basically tells that there is some kind of a realism need to be considered. Basically before deploying, and then there are more maturity need to come in. So that's what basically we're telling. AI and automation has several challenges with a lot of success stories, but industrial applications still have a lot of gaps there still to be addressed. And then so some of them I have listed here in terms of having the training data. A huge amount of massive training data is required because it stands with or works with data-driven approaches. And to require a generalization, you need to mature much faster with the multitask learning, and then even the meta learning kind of concepts integrated in real applications. And there is also a problem of bias, data privacy, and then security issues. There is another challenge is their explainability. Many a time, these black box algorithms don't reveal that how they are doing. They will give you the output, but they won't explain how they are doing, how to bring in explainability, and how to achieve more creativity, design, and then those kind of areas where people relations, emotions. In such cases, there are challenges are there, and then also really causality is another big challenge. Why this is happening? And then why the cause and effect relationship extraction, and then using it that some of the inferences, open world reasoning, the integration with the knowledge-based systems, and then so these are some of the gaps which basically impact some of the practical application of in the system. That is why AI people are even talking about instead of artificial intelligence, it is not augmented intelligence. human in the loop using AI as a tool. So it is that way, not directly looking at a job displacement, but basically enabling people to be much more productive. And on the regulatory side, many countries basically are really reviewing some of the AI deployment. Look at now some of the cases which you all might have read, is that UK Home Office in the visa processing for deciding on that, their AI algorithm they have suspended because of some of the decisions controversies. So exam grading algorithms, similarly, due to a huge public outcry, because of these kind of the decisions that has been made, which have gone into some of the biases in the system and suspected biases there. And Washington State, there is an incident specifically on, and many countries actually have facial recognition under scan. So this has basically reportedly have some of the racist kind of decision making and some of the things which have happened. So what I'm trying to say is that many of the algorithms and AI algorithms, or even the technologies that has a lot of social implications and challenges, basically need to be really looked at it, and which many countries are basically bringing it in the regulatory perspective. So to conclude, these while giving there are no positives and negatives, and some of the tentative examples I have brought up to prove a view. So there is a churn. Surely the technology will create a churn. It will create jobs, and then it will destroy or remove the jobs. And then relearning and reskilling are really required because of the dynamism that is basically introduced. And historically, if you really look at technology, always have brought more net job opportunities. More job opportunities have created, and in several old jobs have gone away, and that will happen. But generally, they have shown till today. But then going forward, things can be somewhat different. That is something we need to be looking at. So they also brought solutions, but at the same time new problems to work on. Occupations made physical activities in highly structured environments are likely to get automated much faster. Specifically data processing, collection, some of the workflows, and then we'll see some of automation impact there. Social, emotional, people, like the kind of cognitive skills, and then people technologies, right? Creativity, critical thinking, and so complex information processing. Many of such kind of applications basically still need a human in the loop, and then majorly a human kind of challenges, which will have a tougher time for tougher challenges for automation. So that is something really need to be look at it in a much longer term, the technologies, but still it will be under augmented intelligence. So there is also, due to this wide skill, new skills generation and then technology advancements, the new jobs are mostly likely to be created at the higher level of technology. At the lower end, we are not really sure that that many new jobs are really creating. So in such a way, then the ability for people at that level to come to at a higher level will be and can be an issue. And then because of that, there can be even increasing gap in wages as well. So there, at the same time, to address these whole challenges, there are also policies, and then which are at the government level, as well as on the community level, business level, need to be taken care to take care of those communities and people who are left behind by this technology technological change. So these are some of my views. Probably as we go forward, we will get into more discussions on some of these aspects. Thank you for listening. Sorry for the trouble.
Thank you, Dr. Bala. I just want one question before we move on to the next speaker. See, take Japan. tremendous shortage of manpower, or even countries like France. But that's on one side. And on the other side, we have Indonesia, India, huge manpower, huge unemployment rate, and skill upgradation is rather low. And these kinds of, when you take these comparisons, I said in my introduction, judicious introduction. Now, would this be a compelling issue for India, like, artificial intelligence, robotics, and displace people, and hope that jobs will be created? I can understand this going to defense on a priority basis, because that's going to be very, very important. Particularly the recent killing of that scientist in Iran shows the power of artificial intelligence. So therefore, one would understand, yes, in defense, you must give priority. But would you give that kind of priority to industry? Or would you say, as I said, judicious, slowly, look for time, the right time, so that a balance can be maintained?
Yeah, sure. I think, see, there are, as I mentioned, technology has both the sides and then the kind of impact what really happening. India's perspective, using the strength what India is having, and then on the people, and if you given the right ecosystem and resources, and then skill development also, I think in a great way that can be achieved. And then I also said is that the kind of how will you really use it? That one of the point what I mentioned is that telemigration and virtual offshoring with the physical. So those kind of concepts can be really made in a balanced manner, so that these kind of challenges what you mentioned, the dearth of people and hands at the other countries, where a lot of hands at the other places that is available. How do you really efficiently utilize that? This technology can bring a lot contribution there.
Thank you, Bala. We'll be coming back to you towards the end. We'll move on to the next speaker, and I hope you can hold on and you can be with us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that very scholarly presentation, very scientific presentation. Thank you so much. Yes, would you call up the next one? Yes.
Yes, sir. May I request Shanmugam sir to take over the floor now? Sir, you are on mute.
Dear Chairman Sir, Director Sir, distinguished panelists, faculty, students, and all the participants who have joined this webinar, we welcome you for this session. It's indeed my pleasure and privilege to introduce the next panelist, who is Mr. Ganesh Krishnan, a serial entrepreneur and partner of Growth Story. And Growth Story, as most of you would know, is a leading venture builder platform where they incubate new ventures and entrepreneurs. So Mr. Ganesh is a successful serial entrepreneur with 4 successful greenfield ventures and exits. It's absolutely a detailed list. I'll read few of them for you. Over the last few years, Growth Story, this is a venture incubation platform. They have promoted leading companies, which includes Big Basket, Portia Medical, Bluestone, Fresh Menu, Home Lane, Hungerbox, Veryloop.io, and Homescreen Network. And some of the ventures which were started by Mr. Ganesh were acquired by leading firms across India and globe. And this includes the very famous Tutor Vista, Marketix, and Customer Asset, and this also includes IT&T. Mr. Ganesh is very passionate and actively mentors and incubates startups. And some of the angel investments includes Little Eye Labs, Deliver.com, Hacker Earth, Credar, Pocket, Silverpush, Dogspot, Vogo, and to name a few. And he's also worked as the CEO of Bharti British Telecom and has held senior positions in HCL. And he's a very popular speaker at entrepreneurship and startup events. And he's been recognized as one of the iconic entrepreneurs of India. And he was actually a nominee for the Economic Times Entrepreneurship of the Year in 2015. And Mr. Ganesh is a postgraduate from IIM Calcutta, and has a degree in mechanical engineering from the Delhi University. And he was previously on the board of governors of IIM Calcutta and founder director of IIM's Innovation Park and Innovation Cell. And he's currently serving as on the board of Aditya Birla Idea Payments as an independent director. Indeed, a very significant list of achievements, and the list goes on. It's our privilege on behalf of XIME to welcome you, sir, to talk about and enlighten us on the retail domain. We welcome you, sir. Mr. Ganesh, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Professor Philip, and thanks, XIME, for inviting me here. It's always a pleasure. I have, since I've been in Bangalore for the last 22 years, and I had the privilege and pleasure of visiting XIME in a couple of occasions. It's really impressive to see how the institution has grown over last 2 decades that I have been here in Bangalore. So I also realized that my LinkedIn profile is a bit too long, so I need to shorten it so that it doesn't become slightly embarrassing. But happy to be here. So this entire thing, and after Dr. Balamurali there, it's difficult to be scholarly for me. So I'm neither a doctorate nor a scholar. So I'll share some of my experiences and thoughts as I see it in automation. So the entire thing about automation, technology, taking away jobs, affecting employment, affecting the skills sector has been talked about not just now, for times immemorial. I mean, if you look at when the textile machinery started coming up, when the spinning ginny mill started coming up, people said weavers will lose their jobs. Similarly, when dynamite was invented, they said there will be no need for people. Now manual labor will go away because dynamite has come. It can actually break rocks. But that actually didn't happen. If you look at it, because of dynamite, more construction happened. People were employed in building Suez Canal. Dams were built. A lot of work got created despite innovation and automation. So I think while any technology, automation, whether it's AI, whether it is ML, whether it is software, whether it is autonomous cars, whatever may be the level of technology, software to AI to machine learning, temporary shifts in job will take place. Skills needed will change. But I don't think jobs per se, employment per se, has ever been under threat. It has been there through centuries. It is not so now. Correct? Why is that? Because the human needs are infinitely inelastic or elastic. Okay, right? So we keep needing newer and newer stuff, more and more stuff. Right? So you can see that when medical automation in the field of medicines and pharmacy came up, and Ramoji can talk more about it given his experience in healthcare, more and more procedures got started. The number of procedures, the number of times we visit, the number of tests we do has not gone down despite all the level of automation in this. People will start doing things differently, whether it's UPI or it is fintech, the kind of thing. More ease of payment system means good for Amazon. People will buy more. It's easier to buy on Amazon directly. So the number of transactions will increase. Like I said, human needs are infinitely elastic. We'll end up doing more and more. We'll end up wanting things more and more. We'll end up consuming more and more. We'll end up spending more and more time on things that we want to spend, not what we are forced to, which all of it means more employment. Some aspects will get automated. Some processes will get automated, whether it's HR, whether it is process or shop floor or baking. But I don't think jobs will go away. We have seen that repeatedly, right? Across sectors. If you take a specifically retail, whether it is our big basket, which is e-commerce retail or e-retail, grocery retail, or it is physical shops, okay, right? The nature of automation, therefore the nature of jobs on the shop floor has changed. All of you would have heard about the Amazon Go retail project, okay, right? Wherein you actually have 3 stores across different states, 10 stores across 3 states in US, where you have completely contactless retail experience. You can walk in, pick up the stuff, put it in your basket, walk out, automatically it will know your ID, it will bill you, it will debit your Amazon Pay account, or it will debit your credit card and do that. So they already are doing it. There are 10 stores in 3 cities. They're planning to go to 3,000 stores, Amazon Go Retail, by end of this year. What does it mean? It means, yes, the number of people in the shop floor is lesser. In the actual retail store is lesser. You will hardly meet people. But what it also means is larger transactions, more footfalls, more transactions, less wait times. And because it's fully automated, using analytics, we can personalize for each shopper, optimize the assortment size. So the level of retail has completely changed. And again, mind you, the number of people in the shop floor is reduced. But does it mean the total employment has reduced? No, because the number of people involved in creating that experience, whether it's coders, software programmers, is higher. The number of people in the logistics and warehouse are more. Because people are buying more goods are getting transported. The actual people, logistics people are more, because more goods are being transported now. So the total employment does not change, but the thing has changed. Similarly, take our own examples. We have companies like GrowFit, like Fresh Menu. What do? They are cloud kitchens. They deliver fine dining experience to your home. So what has happened? There is no restaurant. Therefore, the typical restaurant waiters, servers, people who serve you, that has gone. But what has got replaced? Has the number of chefs come down? No, it has not come down. The number of chefs has increased. The number of cloud kitchens has increased because people are ordering more. The delivery boys has increased. So the labor force has shifted from people waiting on you to deliver on your table in a restaurant to actual delivery that takes place. Now, that is the nature. Similarly, whether it is Amazon Go or Kroger Edge digital shelves, which they have rolled out in about 200 stores across the US, right? All of it has seen change of digital transformation, not just in operations, but supply chain, like merchandising, all of that has changed. Now, it doesn't mean the organization remains the same. There are several changes in the organization structure in retail and across all industries that take place because of the automation. One, clearly, decision-making is faster. The role changes. For example, if you take even in Big Basket warehouse, over the last 9 years since we have been operational, a lot of automation, robotics has been introduced. In a typical retail, shelf scanning robots means you have less need for the depot manager or local manager at the depot to actually go and count the inventory in shelves. So what has happened? They have been cross-trained in other in-store activities. So the training, cross-training, retraining, reskilling of the people to do stuff which is now they don't need to do because of automation and robotics has changed. Also, career path has changed. Earlier, typical thing would have been store assistant, store manager, store depot manager, and all of that stuff. That hierarchy is gone. It is flatter hierarchy. So it's not a career path like before, a linear path, more lateral movement that takes place. So one of the hottest topics is the redeployment of labor. Again, McKinsey has got nice articles on redeployment of labor. Professor Philip mentioned about one McKinsey article. The entire thing about redeployment of labor, not for efficiency purpose alone, but for innovation. Innovation is actually become the reason for automation, not just pure efficiency. 10 years back, retail automation was focused on efficiency. Now it's innovation, whether it's Amazon Go Retail or any of this. Okay, so just like I talked about delivery instead of service in restaurant. Similarly, in Portia Medical, for example, we have had doctors. Doctors have become more like care managers. Why is that? Because accelerated due to pandemic. Earlier, what the doctor was needed to do, take the blood pressure, was taking various readings. Today, thanks to pandemic, thanks to the IoT and thanks to digital instruments available at home, people are experts in taking their O2 saturation level because oximeter everybody has got now. Similarly, digital BP. So people know pulse, BP, oxygen levels on their own. You don't need a doctor or a nurse to take it anymore. So what does it mean? Less doctors will be needed? No, it just means they become more like care managers. So what does it mean for practicing managers for all of us? What it means is we need to invest in reskilling people. And again, to quote from another McKinsey study, rehiring people, hiring new people for new skill set is 20 to 30% of the annual salary is the cost of hiring new people. But Reskilling existing people because they already have the domain knowledge, they know the organization context, is only 10% of the annual salary has to be spent in reskilling. So going forward, we see a lot of focus in retail across industries in reskilling, given this. Obviously, there are other benefits of reskilling rather than hiring new from outside. It saves on the ramp up time. It creates a lot of goodwill among employees that at the first sign of automation, disruption, innovation, we don't get laid off. That's one aspect. The other aspect of the entire automation is that a lot of partnerships, a lot of working with industry bodies, skill sector councils from government, reskilling bodies, or organizations like Ganesh Natarajan's here, you have organizations like NASCOM, CII, all of those. Okay, right? Industries need to work with it because the entire reskilling has to be done at the industry level. Right? That's one. Other aspect is engaging with gig workers. The entire talk about gig economy is huge. Freelancing, gig economy, on demand, getting experts to come and work for you for a particular period of time, not having full-time employees on your roles, but actually working with part-time, specific project-based gig economy workers is going to become the norm. So is outsourcing with partners rather than building full stack, large monolithic companies, having leaner, nimble companies working with partners. And gig economy is one thing that we have seen in multiple ways where people are working with multiple agencies or platforms to be able to do that stuff. If you take blue collar workers, gig workforce, it's already India has started adopting. Okay. Earlier it was not possible, but technology and automation has made it possible. If you take an example of a company like HouseJoy or Urban Company, what was it called, Urban Club earlier, discovering customers for a plumber or an electrician has become possible now, thanks to the app, thanks to smartphone, thanks to demand aggregation. Word of mouth. Earlier it was possible only through word of mouth. Today the plumber has got an incentive for upskilling himself because when his rating is 4.5 on an app, he can charge more. He will get better jobs. He will get more job. Earlier, the plumber had no way to display his skill, has a rating, so there was no incentive for him to spend money on upskilling. Now he earns more than a plumber or electrician who is rated at 4 versus 4.5. So the problem of discovery is solved because consumers can see the people on platforms like Urban Club, Urban Company, or this. Skilling is solved. You can get certification from various organizations, including these companies or platforms or skill councils. So all of that has led to a gig economy in blue collar workers. Same in white collar workers is coming up. So, and it is also forced by the employment situation. If you take South India itself, we are talking about 700,000 to 1 million engineers, to 1 lakh engineers being produced in the southern part of India every year. There are no jobs for them. They need to be on platform. They will get expert jobs. They will get part-time jobs. There's no full-time jobs. People are not hiring. So that is the situation there. So therefore, we are seeing a lot of automation-related changes. Nothing that will lead to mass unemployment or lack of employment, but definitely a different kind, different skill set. Some of the things will get obsolete in a traditional, like a shop floor in a retail shop, but e-commerce, warehouses, dark stores, kitchens will generate pickers and packers and more jobs. Drivers, whether it's Ola or Uber, or it is Zomato or Swiggy, will create more jobs. So there is enough and more jobs available. Same is true for white collar workers in software industry, for coders, for testers, for writing, all of that stuff. So that's the way we as a practicing professional and an entrepreneur look at this entire automation. Retail obviously is one sector. Very happy to take questions at the end of it. Thanks once again for this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Ganesh. I mean, thanks a lot. A very comprehensively summarized thing. We keep telling our students to be techno-functional. I mean, that's what comes from you, that the importance of combining management and technology. We will take questions at the end. One question, I mean, just to ask you. When I went through your profile, I mean, it's 20 plus companies, if not more, which you have incubated, and you have incubated and you are incubating. Possibly you'll do it in future. What keeps you going, sir? You don't get tired?
No, I think I think once you had a taste of entrepreneurship, it is like an addiction or a nasha. You keep at it. You keep going back to it. Keep at it. So one is passion. The other one is the stupidity to believe that all these ideas will work. Okay, right? And one of the reasons I have no hair on my head is because of all the stress these companies create. So that's a tip for you. So if you're willing to lose all your hair and become bald like me, you can do more companies. But if you want to look as handsome as Ganesh Natarajan does, you can do less number of companies.
So coincidentally, XIME ends with entrepreneurship. So a lot of questions will come back to you, sir. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Ashwat, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ganesh Natarajan, sir, welcome to the session. I know we didn't want to interrupt in between, but good to have you here.
So good to see you.
Thank you.
So now I invite Bhatta sir to take over the stage.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And it gives me great pleasure in introducing our healthcare specialist. Of late, over the last 1.5 year, healthcare has always been important, but over the last 1.5 year, they have been rechristened as healthcare soldiers. They got the same status as an army or any military gets it. And the way they handled the pandemic in the last 1 year is something perhaps goes down the history books that no, I don't think anyone, particularly healthcare workers in India. With the advent of digital medical services, where you now consult a doctor online and take prescriptions, which have got a legal status now, I can go and buy a prescription. And with the advent of other digital transformation happening in the healthcare, there is a genuine worry in the minds of managers, particularly healthcare managers, what will be their future. To answer these questions, we have with us Mr. Ramoji, a personal friend and known to me for many years. And he has been a passionate promoter of digital healthcare, holding finance function for Manipal Group. Formerly, he was CFO of Manipal Hospitals, presently a director in Manipal Health. And he is also a board member in several healthcare companies and turnaround specialist, turning around the not-for-profit hospitals with a cost management and appropriate planning, turning around into positive cash flows, and won the award of CFO Excellence Award for Corporate Governance. Of course, his qualifications wise, he is a chartered accountant with a company secretary and serving the Manipal Group for good about 2 decades. And before that, he was serving my group, that is Tata Group, Taj Hotels. Welcome, Ramoji, and the audience is very eager to listen to you, how healthcare is changing and what it is going to make change it to the workforce of tomorrow. Over to Ramoji.
Sure. Thank you very much, Bhatta, and thanks to XIME for inviting me to participate in this very interesting session. So we are calling it the new world of work. I think we have heard many valuable things from Dr. Phillips and Dr. Bala, and then my good friend Ganesh. So, just to give the perspective of the healthcare as to, what the world, a new world of work, looks like, and what it is today, and how it's going to change. I think, that as you know, the healthcare is mostly, on-site work. In the sense, the people will have to actually, meet at a particular place, and then service is delivered. Nevertheless, there is a good, inroads, that digital healthcare has made. But by and large, that remains as the, the on-site, delivery system. When the pandemic had hit, it's not that, thanks for acknowledging that, the healthcare workers, what they have done during the pandemic, but truly, people had actually gone beyond the call of duty to, extend their services. Frankly, even they had the fears in their mind. Probably they're brave enough, but the family members had concerns that the people are going for work, and especially the nurses who get very close to the patients, and then who are highly susceptible for any communicable diseases. So that was a big challenge. Of course, some people who could afford to work from home could do that, but that was very small section of the people. But by and large, people had to come to the system, and then as managers, we had to manage their their fears, their concerns, and also keep them in safe environment. That meant changing a lot of the protocols which were traditionally happening for decades, and also placing a lot of automation in the hands of the people, but of course not to compromise on the outcomes in any manner. So that was the big challenge the industry faced. But since it lasted for so long, over a period, the industry also had learned as to how to battle with them, and quickly put the new clinical paths, and also took the guidance from experts from time to time. So all that had happened while the other space, like the digital healthcare, the teleconsultations, and then distant consultations are also growing. So interestingly, though it is by and large on-site service, good about 25-30% of the doctor consultations need not be physical, and good about 80% of the follow-on visits. Follow-on visits means actually the patient, after he gets discharged post surgery or whatever, once in 15 days or once in a month he has to go to the doctor. All that need not be physical. So that has actually helped in delivering the care without having to make the patient coming to the hospital risking him and also the hospital staff. So that has made a good beginning, and of course the things are becoming normal, and then it is slowly coming back to normalcy. There could be new norms as well. It's with what you call redefined the clinical parts or protocols or whatever. As far as the job losses fear is concerned, Ganesh spoke extensively about it. I think healthcare did not have that concern. None of the managers actually had that concern, because they knew that it is probably the temporary phenomena, and the things will have to come back to normal. But I think having said that, they should also be continuously upskilling their own skills. Otherwise, with the digital transformation, some of the jobs can probably go out of system. While that happens, there will be a huge opportunity for the technology to play a big role in the healthcare delivery, especially the robotics. Most of the things which normally get done through physical contact can be done through the technology, and also some part by robotics. So automation helps in a big way. I would say that good progress has happened in the last probably 2 decades on automation, but the healthcare has a long way to go in that perspective. I'm not essentially talking about the biomedical technology side, where there is enough done, but on the delivery side, I think there is huge scope, and then this is an opportune time. And then if people put their heads in healthcare technology, I think that will be the brightest spot as we go forward, at least in next 1.5 decades. So that is one opportunity, that definitely is coming through everybody's way. And healthcare, incidentally, it happens to be one of the highest employer per crore investment kind of stuff. So that continues. So I don't think the people are really worried about the job losses. And I mean, definitely, of course, the future of the healthcare is the digital. So, I mean, when we talk about the digital, normally we talk about the telemedicine and kind of stuff that is probably very loosely used and or rather abused word. But the digital healthcare means much more than just telemedicine. In fact, Ganesh and team had done a lot of work on that, and and the end-to-end care that gets to the patient without having to probably do many things manually. So that is the big opportunity. The other thing is about the hospital infrastructure. So the conventional hospitals are such that you go through certain processes whereby I mean, one study says that typically a patient goes to the hospital or somebody goes to the hospital being a patient. There are about 22 touch points, in the sense that at 22 locations, one would typically get in contact with the people. If half of them are automated and if many of them are taken care without having to have any, the contact with the patient, that will be a wonderful, evolution for the healthcare. So all that is happening, I think parallelly. And I know for sure, the technocrats are actually applying their mind. All in all, to sum up, I think the new world of work is a definite reality, and I don't think that will put any jobs at risk, especially in the healthcare. Upskilling, of course, is the need of the hour. Everybody should work on, and then I mean, as it is, we keep hearing that there are less number of doctors and less number of hospital beds in the country. So this the digital route will actually address that as well. So I think I would say that the new world of work is actually very exciting for healthcare, and then we see the bright things coming up, and then the care gets much better than what it is today. So I'll be very happy to take any questions, but I thought this would be the probably introductory remark from the healthcare industry.
Thanks, Ramoji, for the detailed coverage of the healthcare sector. Before I hand over to the next speaker, one small question. Healthcare is not just technology or seeing it. A lot of placebo effect happens. The doctor putting the stethoscope all over the body, asking him to breathe in, breathe out, and so much of testing. Now, if 22 touch points out of 22 touch points, say 80% you are making machines, and doctor also is only a picture on the screen. How does the new normal going to work going forward? Most of the Indians have a concept of family doctor, meeting the doctor, having consultation, unloading their worries. How is it going to take shape in the coming days?
Yeah, I see interesting thing, but it's actually how it is coming up in the sense. I mean, of course, the generation change will actually bring that change as well. For example, when the people wanted to have the consultation, and then when the hospital said that okay, you can come to hospital now, they're all safe norms are followed, don't worry, and then they were insisting for the digital consultations. All right. So I think the demand is coming from the patients. I mean, it takes time, no doubt. And these days, like we were talking about a little while ago, many of the parameters can be digitally captured. And I've seen very interesting thing. One guy in Hyderabad has invented that by looking at your video of your face, for about 2.5 minutes. There are about 6 vitals that can be captured, including the temperature of the body. I mean, it is through the the movement of the eye rays, and then even if you talk, if you say that your name is so and so, and you are from such and such place, through that also they can actually capture this many things. Of course, there's a long way to go to actually validate them, and anything less than 90% validation is no validation in the healthcare. So long way to go, but I think all these things will give more comfort to the patients as well. Professor Bhatta.
Thank you so much. More questions will definitely come from the other participants. Over to Ashwath for the next speaker.
Thank you, sir. I'll invite Mahesh, Professor Mahesh, to take over this floor.
Thanks, Professor Ashwath. Good evening, everyone. I have this absolute pleasure of introducing the next speaker. He's an accomplished expert in the manufacturing management domain, Mr. Hussain Shahryar. Mr. Hussain Shahryar currently heads the process equipment division of Godrej and Boyce Limited and is Senior Vice President in the company. His association with the Godrej Group goes back to his days as graduate engineer trainee around 27 years back. He's an engineer by training, and he's also a master's in financial management from Jamanlal Bajaj Institute, Mumbai. He has served in various departments in Godrej Group, mostly in the operations domain, before entering, before being entrusted with this current responsibility of the business. Right? Mr. Hussain Shahryar has not just demonstrated his expertise in the domain of operations, having successfully implemented ERPs, Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, and he has been leader in this. He has also been instrumental in transforming 2 plants of a division for Greenco Platinum and Platinum Plus rating based on their environmental performance. This is a very significant achievement given that these were our country's first 2 cases of any plant achieving this landmark, green initiative. He did not stop there. He has further contributed towards spreading awareness on sustainability and green agenda in his capacity as chairman of CII, that's a Confederation of Indian Industries, Green Co-Education Committee. He has also authored books to take the message of manufacturing excellence and sustainability further. I request Mr. Hussain Shahryar to share with us his thoughts on the emerging nature of work. Also request him to throw light on a mantra he has developed. It's a very interesting one. He calls it 3P mantra of perseverance, passion, and perfection. So we look forward for your insights on how this mantra finds relevance in this emerging world of work, particularly given that manufacturing is the domain where any change in technology has almost a direct impact. Over to you, sir.
So thank you very much, Mr. Mahesh, for that elaborate introduction. Good evening to all panel members. I have a presentation to share, and I will just put that quickly. And do let me know if I am able to change the slides, and you can see the presentation. Is it visible?
Yeah, yes, Hussain, we can see it.
And you can see the change in slide?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening once again. I, being from the manufacturing industry, especially a shop floor person, I have interacted with Dr. Bhatta during our assessment. And thank you, Dr. Bhatta, for giving me this opportunity to speak in this forum. My presentation is focused more on the applications of these technologies, which the previous speakers have spoken about. The benefits which you are getting on the shop floor, and going ahead, what is our plan? And of course, I will touch upon the fact that how does it impact the job employment? Does it create unemployment, or does it add to employment? So with that, let me begin. The new world of work, that's the session today. So the question is, what does this new world of work for manufacturing mean? Does it mean dark factories? Dark factories are factories where, actually they say that you don't require any lighting. There is no operator, there is no employee, there is no person. Everything works 24 hours, continuously automated. Or is it a bionic one? A bionic organization is one where human and machine driven, where technology and analytic functions work together alongside business critical functions to drive the core business. Or another angle is, or is it going to be a green one? You heard a lot about my introduction, which I am a green champion. normally talk a lot about green manufacturing wherever I go in every forum. And now today, the need of the hour is that, yes, every manufacturing going ahead, whether it's a product or process, has to take care about the environment and the climate change impacts. So the answer is like this. Before I go to that, are dark factories the future for manufacturing? The answer is no. Today, dark factories, there are some 1 or 2 examples, but they are more related to the process industries. And we will not definitely have dark factories across all sectors going ahead. We will have the bionic ones, because machines create jobs and automation replaces a task within a job. That's the funda, normally I talk about. So increasing number of studies have shown a positive correlation between automation and jobs, not only in the past, but also under the conditions of Industry 4.0. A very classic example is the German auto industry, where they have the highest robo density in the world, around 1150 industrial robots per 10,000 employees. But they say as a result, employment in the German car industry rose by about 93,000 jobs in the period 2010 to 2015. And similar trends is seen world over. And, let me share the example at Godrej. We have implemented a lot of robotics. We have implemented a lot of automation and also these new technologies. But the headcount of people we employ, I'm talking about my factories, is going up year on year on year. And Mr. Ganesh pointed out, as far as the consumption goes up, as developing countries become more and more developed, and as the economy, as the consumption keeps happening, there will be need for more and more jobs, and more jobs will be created. The only thing is, of course, the jobs will be created in a different area, a different skill set will be required, but definitely there is no doubt on that the jobs will continue to be created. It is not the jobs which are replaced by automation. It is a task within the job which is replaced by automation. This is mainly for a manufacturing shop floor. The implication is that while most jobs will change, they will not disappear. So what are bionic organizations? The new world of work with technologies like automation, robotics, and artificial intelligence will be shaping how we work, where we work, and the skills and educations we need to work. But we will continue to work, that is rest assured, but in a bionic way. This will require agile teams, right functional skills, and complete tasks quickly. Only bionic firms will be able to innovate and optimize offerings fast enough, and thus continually adapt to new online platforms, ever-changing consumer behaviors, and emerging opportunities. When a company becomes truly bionic, a spirit of entrepreneurship surfaces. So the future factory will be a bionic one, as I've already said. It has to be smart, digital, and I add one more angle, which is green. So that's going to be the future of factories in manufacturing. IoT will be the big thing. Manufacturers are increasingly leveraging the Internet of Things, and this is going to continue. This entails the interconnection of various unique devices within an existing internet infrastructure. This all helps improve efficiency, improve safety, cost reduction, improve quality on the shop floor. I'll share a lot of examples post 2-3 slides on what kind of applications we have done on the shop floor. Greater visibility into big data is helping manufacturers achieve more. The kind of, every surface is converting into a sensor nowadays going ahead for data collection, and it provides real insights for manufacturers. And we have done a lot of things. Of course, sensors today are a little expensive, but going ahead, the kind of volumes which are being demanded the amount of sensors which are being demanded going ahead, I'm very sure the sensor cost itself is going to come down very soon. Manufacturers can actually slice and dice data in ways they provide them with a comprehensive understanding of their businesses. Predictive maintenance, also a major area where we have worked and done a lot of work and a lot of applications. I will share some examples going ahead. And this has also saved us a lot in terms of improving our response time, improving our machine available time, spending less resources on maintenance. So let me give you some examples from the shop floor. You all can see the graphs. Is it clear, Dr. Bhatta?
Yeah, Hussain, very clear. No problem.
So now let me see, and these are interesting examples. So here you can see the arrow where I'm pointing. On the left, you have a graph which shows the tool life. On the x-axis, what you see is the number of jobs done, and every tool maker specifies a tool life. That here, in this case, you see by this black vertical line, and it is roughly around 550 jobs before which we have to change the tool. Now with sensors and with IoT integration on this machine, our people have been able to redefine the tool life itself. And how they've done it is we also monitor the current drawn by the spindle motor every time a cutting operation takes place. So you can see two lines there, yellow line and red line, and with a lot of trial and experiments, we have found out that actually the tool life can be extended, and we do not have any issues whatsoever in terms of poor quality or in terms of poor productivity. And you can go right up to this yellow line where the current drawn by the spindle motor is 200. And then what we have defined is we have also defined a threshold limit, which is about 200, which you see a red line. And that is the case where the tool life ends and we have to change the tool. Now, this is so well created that, even if the operator fails to judge this, the machine will automatically stop once the current reaches that level. A very small example, but the amount of savings which you have got is amazing. So now what you see on the right hand side is showing us our tool cost in rupees per unit of production. So if you see a lot of improvements used to happen, it went on going down year on year. And in fact, in the last year, it went up. But after introducing this, just see the drastic drop in the tool cost. Now, this is just one example, but we have many examples where we have improved the tool life and we have got a lot of efficiencies and a lot of cost reduction in the tool cost. The things I want to bring out here by these technology is that it is also unearthed a lot of hidden inefficiencies. So if you see where improvement reaches a certain saturation level, and then you are not able to find and search for inefficiencies, this is where the technologies come in handy, and they bring out a lot of inefficiencies. They expose a lot of inefficiencies, which we can then work upon, and then we continue the improvement journey going ahead. Same is the case, another example below of the OEE of a machine. We worked on everything, and we worked on improving our OEE, and finally we reached a level of 83.1. And then it was becoming difficult to really go ahead. And then we completely introduce a real-time monitoring system, which captures every minor stoppage, even for 2 or 3 seconds in the machine, which earlier was going unnoticed. And with those improvements, then you see a sudden jump from 83 to 87. So that's how, where you reach a certain level of saturation and improvement, and suddenly these technologies come in, and when we implement it, they completely unearth a lot of inefficiencies, and then we get drastic improvements again going ahead. This is another very nice example of real-time energy monitoring. Every 30 seconds, the energy is monitored at every pocket on the shop floor, throughout the shop floor, of every activity which consumes energy. And what you get to see is, the graph below, which you see a continuously improvement happening. This was not because of this implementation of this technology, but it was because of all the other improvements you do. And then we reach a certain saturation level where you see the graphs flattening. And then we implement this, and suddenly we get again a drastic drop in consumption. So here, every energy consuming device on the shop floor is monitored and measured real time. And if there is a deviation in the consumption, immediately we have alerts and we take corrections on time. Same is for the real solar panel generation, solar energy generation. What you see here is, when these solar panels collect a lot of dust, the efficiencies of the solar panels drop. Now, up till now, we had a preventive maintenance schedule where once a week a person would, climb the roofs and clean the solar panels. We were no way monitoring what happens during the week. Now everything is real time. And what happens is, moment the efficiency of a single panel drops, we get alerts and messages. And that is the time we go and clean the panel immediately. So it's no more a fixed preventive maintenance, it's condition-based maintenance. And this has also improved our performance ratio drastically. When I say performance ratio, it is nothing but your ideal generation and your actual generation. So today, we are getting an efficiency of almost 92%, which is the best in the country as far as solar panel efficiency is concerned. Another very good example on maintenance system. Here you can completely see the working of a chiller plant. And what you need to do is, earlier all inspections were manual. They would take almost 30 minutes of inspection time to see that the machine, the chiller system is working fine. There were 48 inspection points, manual inspection points. These inspection points have reduced to only 1. And the effort required for inspection, the time required is now reduced only to 2 minutes, which was earlier 30 minutes. You can see a lot of reduction in the response time, production loss time, sorry, the first graph on top, where we used to average have around 5,000 compressors lost in a year. This has dropped to 300. So as you see, what I'm trying to bring out is all these technologies, IoTs, sensors, data analysis, they are unearthing all inefficiencies, which was very, very difficult now for us to go ahead and, check it after we reach a certain saturation level. Coming to VR and AR, they are continuing to forge winning partnership between man and machine. And let me share one very interesting example which we are working on. And it's a very, very nice example. In my new business, we have a lot of welding taking place because we make pressure vessels. And to train a welder on the jobs and to create the jobs, it's a big costly affair. And also we are not able to really monitor his skills very well. We are moving to a complete training model through virtual reality, where the welder will not even strike an electric arc. It will be all virtually done. There will be no job. There will be no consumables. Everything will be virtually. But what is more important is this whole system will track his skill and his errors throughout the whole process. When you do an actual welding training and when you do an actual job, you wait till the job is over and you inspect the job and then you try to find out the root cause analysis. Here, as the process of welding is going on, his errors in terms of angle, in terms of speed, everything gets captured. And once the whole part is over, the whole root cause analysis is ready. So that is the kind of, a lot of saving in the training cost, but at the same time, very accurately bringing out the deficiencies in the welding skills. 3D printing is another thing which is making production faster and cheaper. Of course, we still don't have it on the shop floor as far as mass manufacturing is concerned, but it has given us a lot of benefit in terms of development. So here is a classic example. We have 3D printers in our R&D. Our product development cycle time has reduced from 18 months to 13 months. Now, 5 months is a big reduction in total time of 18 months. Over 30 parts were printed. Practically all were new varieties. Speedy styling concept, freeze, performance verification, this all was really shortened, this whole cycle. And then, the important thing is that once you freeze this, you make the designs, then you cannot make any changes post design is frozen. So this kind of working on 3D printing has really speeded up our development time. These are all actual examples. I talked about factories being green. This is very close to my heart and I speak on every forum. So sustainable and environment friendly manufacturing will be the norm. The reason being is, as natural resources get scarcer and scarcer, manufacturers will have to find innovative ways and methods to produce with the minimum use of them. Regulations will get tighter and tighter. And as you see that, we already seeing that post this pandemic also, the climate change part is going to be taken up in a very stricter way across the globe. Product and processes both will have to become green. And Mr. Mahesh has already pointed out in my introduction that ours are the factories which are the greenest factories in India today. We are much beyond the regulations of the government and controlling bodies. Our products are the greenest today. And they are in a kind, our factories have become a benchmark as far as not only in India, but we also have a lot of global accolades getting for our factories. Whoever have visited from the developed countries have really acknowledged. And they have also asked us to share our success stories with them. Of course, this is not the forum, but I just wanted to share that, going ahead, having green products and green processes is also going to become the new normal. And finally, the last slide, as everyone pointed out, finding tech-savvy employees will be a challenging thing. As manufacturers increasingly rely on technology, they need to hire tech-savvy employees increasing. The unfortunate part is that technical education in the country has to undergo a drastic change, and it has to start from the ITIs. Today ITIs, the curriculum is so outdated, the skills taught are so outdated. Even our engineering colleges have to really, work on their curriculum and have to integrate digital in their curriculum. And my suggestion only to way forward is that in this case, the academia, the government, and the industries have to come together to find a solution. It cannot be an independent solution by each entity. The three will have to work together. And there are a lot of examples in developed countries where it has been successfully implemented, especially Germany. And something like that is needed where the three bodies come together and work on a solution rather than working individually. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr. Hussain. That was a very interesting one, especially you talked about the improvement in efficiency, particularly in the maintenance systems with this automation and all, right? But I have one question. I think the floor will come a little later, but I have just one question about a comment that you made in the initial part of your presentation, right? Where you said the more the automation, the more the number of jobs. It looks like a paradox, and many people say the limits of automation isn't paradoxes. Right, in sense that machines won't be able to handle paradoxes like human beings can. So, if you could just explain to us, given your experience in your own plant, in terms of automation and the jobs, and what kind of jobs are these? What is the kind of skills?
I'll tell you. So I'll give you with a real-time example. So now, when we implemented all these automations, of course, we reduces the headcount of employees or the operators working on the assembly line. But to create these automations and to design these automations, we created a process engineering team, which was not there before. So what has happened is jobs are really actually in terms of manual content are going down. In terms of cognitive content or cognitive part, they are going up. So it is all moving from manual to cognitive. So we created a process engineering team. Then to manage all these automations, we had to reinforce our maintenance team, because these automations have to continuously work. So it's not that the jobs are getting eliminated. The profiles are changing. The skill requirement is changing. And then when we hire, we look at these kind of qualifications, these kind of skills in people who can manage this automation, who can design and create automations. So that's what I meant when I said this. And plus, of course, another very important factor, as I said, is consumption is going up and up. Especially in a country like India, where the penetration levels for even consumer durables are very low. There's a huge market, and consumption, the economy will keep going up, and that will also keep adding to more headcounts. So both are responsible, and this way we will have to see that how we can really manage technical education in the country to see that our people are ready for the future job profiles.
Thank you. Over to you, Professor Ashwath.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir, please.
Mr. Hussain is there?
Yes.
Mr. Hussain, I just one thought crossed my mind.
Yeah, sure, please.
Since my mind goes, usually I am from the HR stream. You very rightly raised towards the end that issue of tech-savvy employees. Now, I remember the history of Tata's in Jamshedpur. They built in their own technical school when they found that they cannot get the sufficient quality, quantity, trained manpower. They developed their own technical school. Of course, I'm sure you are almost on the same line. But I started wondering as a bigger issue. Suppose every large manufacturing company adopts an ITI close by, an ITI. And then in partnership, they can work with you, they can train them. Now, for example, I was vice president HR of the Oberoi group. I just landed up there accidentally. Our hotel school was half a day there in the school, half a day in the hotel. Now, so I was wondering, suppose we do that, every large CII, through CII and say, every large manufacturing company adopts an ITI close by and have an opportunity for them to work and learn, almost like the German system. Look at the kind of change that has happened. I'm not asking about Godrej. I'm asking generally about the kind of thing that we should be able to do in the country.
So I completely agree with you, Mr. Philip. And Godrej has been doing that. So both the factories where I was heading the operations, we have adopted nearby ITIs, and we are working with them to develop the new skills, the new technologies which are needed. And then what we do is we also adopt these people after they pass out. So for the first 3 years, they work in Godrej.
Wonderful. Great. Wonderful. I was also complimenting for the presentation. Beautiful. Lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Since I came in. Yeah.
Thank you. It's always pleasure to introduce Dr. Ganesh Natarajan, highly accomplished personality. He's currently the executive chairman and founder of 5F World. It's a platform for digital startups, social ventures, and skill development in the country. I saw Dr. Natarajan smiling when Mr. Ganesh talked about startup world. He has led a platform itself where a lot of startups are being promoted by him as we speak. He's also the founder of Global Talent Tracks and Skills Alpha. He has also co-founded two Indo-US joint ventures. One is the Kalzoom Advisors, who are specialists in digital transformation journey for companies in India. And another is the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Advanced Analytics. Dr. Ganesh also led for nearly 25 years as the Chief Executive Officer of two well-established companies, Sensor Technologies and Aptech. I had the pleasure of hearing him when he was the CEO of Sensor Technologies, because I was from Infosys managing Cisco relationship, which is also a big player from Sensor Technologies. He was a very accomplished man when he speaks about technology. It's pleasure, sir. It was my pleasure. Mr. Ganesh, Dr. Ganesh holds a master's degree in industrial engineering. He has PhD from IIT Bombay and also the advanced management program from Harvard Business School. He has many awards and accomplishments to his credit. He has served as the chairman of NASSCOM. He has served as the chairman of CII, and he has served as the chairman of All India Management Association. He is also currently the chairman.
Triple crown. That's called a triple crown.
Triple crown.
Yeah.
He is also currently the chairman and board of director for Social Venture Partners India and Pune City Connect program. Very interested in the role of digital technologies, promoting digital transformation. Sir, we are eagerly waiting to hear from you, your perspective of the new world of work. Welcome, sir, and you can take the floor.
So first of all, thank you very much for that very long and very embarrassing introduction. Because if I get so impressed when I hear my own biodata that I know I'll never fulfill the expectations. But let me say that I am not. I've been a strong believer since I grew up in a little village in Jharkhand that we need to do stuff for this country. So what I do today, although you've heard of 13 startups and Indo-US joint ventures, I stopped the need for legitimacy 15 years ago. Stopped the need to make money 4 years ago when I voluntarily moved out of Zensar. And today my life is dedicated towards building social enterprises using digital technology for India. So we have invested right from a company called Live History India Digital, which is actually promoting a digital platform for Indian history and culture. Similarly for agriculture, for health, for the copper artisan community in Pune. Because we genuinely believe, I know I've been here for the last 1 hour. I have been listening to a lot of optimism. It's always nice to believe that everything, whatever we do in automation, whatever we do in artificial intelligence, whatever we do in robotics, the job creation will never stop. I would beg to disagree. Okay, because if you're not thoughtful about it, and I totally agree with the last statement made by you, sir, from Godrej, that we have to prepare ourselves for the jobs of the future. My Bible today is Yuval Noah Harari's Homo Deus. If any of you have read Sapiens, you would have loved the book. But as Professor Harari rightly says, the real agenda is not what he wrote in Sapiens, which is the history of the last 2,000 years. But the real agenda is what he writes in Homo Deus, which is the history of the next 100 years. It's an oxymoron to say history of the next 100 years. But please read the book, and I will probably refer to it as we go along. So what I thought I'll do is, I know we are running late, so I don't want to take too much time. But I do have a little presentation, which I will share with you. And my agenda is the Simon Sinek method of saying that very quickly talk about why I think we've all articulated. There is a huge agenda in front of us. The country is at the crossroads where we can either head into disaster or we can really make great things happen. In fact, I was talking to my daughter, who's a cancer specialist in Sloan Kettering Hospital. And she was saying, if you want to feel optimistic, look at what happened after the last pandemic. I mean, the glory years of the Western civilization happened after the 1917-1918 pandemic. But the Western world did some things right. And I think that is the opportunity for us in India, especially with the kind of, I would say, the problems that China is going through, mainly of its own creation. But if we play our cards right, I think we have a huge opportunity. So I think that's the why. The what, and I will briefly talk about digital, because obviously that's what I've been asked to speak about. So I won't stray too far from the given topic. And I'll maybe take a few slides to talk about how. So I hope I can share my screen. Yeah, it is correct. So is the screen visible, folks?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see, sir.
Beautiful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'll very quickly run through it, and of course, available for questions after that. So I thought I'll talk about two things: the future of work, which is important, and the future of jobs. Now, why am I saying the future of work and jobs? Because these are two separate issues. Because today, when you look at, morning I was saddened to see that our unemployment has gone up to 9.1%. If you really calculate disguised unemployment, underemployment, etc., I would predict that in India, we're running like 26, 27%. Because recently I went to Meerut. When I say recently, it was pre-COVID, so probably February. On the way, I stopped at a tea stop, just on the outskirts of Meerut. One tea stop, and there are 14 people employed. One guy running to serve the tea, etc. And you look at the productive young people hanging around that shop, and you really worry that, look, if these people were to realize that, look, they're making so little money, what would be the civil unrest that could, I know a lot of us are really, really worried about it, that, with the decline that we are seeing thanks to COVID, we have to get the energy up in this country very, very quickly. So very quickly, let me talk about the why, as I mentioned. This is something we are all aware of, so I won't kind of dwell on this. But the global economy, we know, is going to be shrinking, 3 to 5% this 2020. The jury is still out. Hopefully, we will have a bumper fourth quarter. It looks nice. Manufacturing, I was talking to my friend Rajiv Bajaj yesterday, and he was delighted that Bajaj Auto is the most valued auto company in the world today, multiple billions of dollars. But I hope it lasts. India's decline, as we know, could be even 8 to 10%, which really means that where we were in March of 2020, or March of 20, is where we could probably be March of 2022 if we decline by 9% and then climb back 12%. So we are in for a tough times, ladies and gentlemen. We all heard about the ILO original projection of 25 million layoffs. It could be 190 million. There's a lot of disguised layoffs because of the stimulus packages that Europe and US have pumped at people. Digital acceleration, which is the flip side, has happened. So as a lot of people are saying, and I'm privileged to be part of an industry which continued to grow with hardly a hiccup. And in fact, you will watch the results over the next few weeks, and it will make you feel that all is well again, because the IT services companies are going to declare fantastic results. So digital acceleration, I think, more achieved in the last 9 months than last 9 years. And we've seen continuous waves of change caused by COVID pulls, that COVID has been trying to pull the economies down. Digital has been pushing many, many things to happen. You heard it in healthcare. You heard it from K. Ganesh in terms of the multiple stuff that he's doing with Growth Story. You heard it in manufacturing. You'll hear it in retail as Amazon really rides the waves. But in every industry, we are finding the push of digital very, very strongly. What it means is that I won't go through this busy slide. If any of you want, please, you can get it from the organizers. There's nothing confidential about this. But I think we should just forget about that top layer called technology. We all know this, or if we don't know it, it doesn't matter. Okay, how does it matter what IoT is, or what natural user interfaces is, or what AR and VR can do for you? What's important is for us to understand that the jobs of the future, which is coming to the point, are going to be created in the middle part. People who have expertise in the integrated digital and physical experiences. People who understand that the Internet of Everything will energize the table lamp in front of me, will energize your brain. Maybe at some point, neural networks will invade the way you think. I was doing a webinar just 2 weeks back for ISB, where my co-panelist was the basketball coach of the New York basketball team. And they are actually researching AI, which, as the basketball player is coming to throw the basket, will be guiding his neural system to say, would you turn left or right? Because the stopper in front of him has been analyzed in those microseconds to say that, look, this guy will probably come closer to the basket and you move away from the basket. So imagine all this happening in real time. What does it do to our reflexes as we go along? So I think these are the kind of things we need to think about. We've all talked about automation. It's not just factory automation, it's robotic process automation, it's cognitive RPA, automation of knowledge work. This is going to be big time stuff. I'll take a little bit of one slide on data and analytics because I think the organizers asked me to talk about that. The social matrix, which on one hand is horrifying with the amount of fake news that comes at us on WhatsApp every day. On the other hand, is very energizing if we know what to sift through in terms of data and information. And of course, it's everything as a service. No longer will you pay for anything to do with IT because everything, the biggest startups today are what they call B2B SaaS, which is business to business, software as a service. So whether it's software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, anything as a service, that's what is important. So any young person in this room looking at careers for the next 30 years, and that's what Harari says, don't think that what you've been trained for, even in the best of institutions like XIME, is going to keep you relevant to your job market. You got to keep learning, keep learning, keep learning, keep upskilling, keep reskilling. And I'll talk right at the end of how we can make this happen. So just to close the topic of digital, what digital is doing, I mean, you heard it in the manufacturing example, is enhancing productivity. You heard it in the healthcare example, is improving the experience. I mean, today, I moved to Pune 20 years ago. I don't have a family doctor, never needed it because any doctor, this is a very young city, is available even at that time. I mean, I've been using Zoom for the last 6 years. Okay, so almost since it was invented, I think, or maybe 5 years. I think it was 1 month after it got started. And a lot of people have been using it. It's just that COVID has made it go mainstream. And the most important is that what we are seeing with digital, which is where the huge jobs of the future are going to be, is new business models altogether. May very quickly explain that. So you should look at these things. Okay, when you think of Amazon, think of Facebook, think of Google. I mean, as we all know, they're going capex free. They're just integrating your content and my content and creating a business out of it with advertisers. The experience model, Netflix, Amazon Prime, everything else, again, just making it very personalized so that we can all get instant gratification. There's no friction, no waiting for a movie theater. God bless the people in Tamil Nadu who are going to pack into 100% occupancy movie theaters to watch Vijay's latest movie. But I would not do it if I were you, because there's so much of convenience in getting entertained, at the time and place and venue of your choice. The point I was making earlier, where the big job's going to be, it's going to be platforms. What's a platform? Classically, if you look at Ola, Uber, it's a platform. If you look at anything that enables data orchestration, personalization, and get companies to integrate together, which is friction-free, so you don't need people to serve you. It can be through the platform like Amazon. I think that's the move. So we have to understand the platform model extremely well, which is the key in digital. I mean, if you look at this, somebody shared this with me saying that, look, IBM Watson was a big hit 5 years back. It's still there, but not exactly a supercomputer. But in 1968, a movie that only some of us oldies would have seen called 2001: A Space Odyssey, predicted something called HAL, a supercomputer, which has all the characteristics that IBM then created 6-7 years back, called the IBM Watson. So imagine that a lot of this has been predicted and it's beginning to happen today. I mean, the evil tendencies of HAL 9000, which was the way the movie predicted it, are not there in IBM Watson. IBM Watson enables, people like my daughter who are top of the line cancer specialists in Sloan Kettering to actually download their knowledge into IBM Watson. And IBM Watson is then helping the not so well trained people, let's say in Manipal Hospital, which is also using IBM Watson, to benefit from the expertise globally. So I think that's the beauty of digital today. But it also means, the point I was making earlier, that if you look at the whole world of data and analytics, a lot of people, you ask them, they'll say, oh yeah, we've been using analytics forever. What have you been using it for? You've been using it for the left-hand side. And a lot of jobs were created in data management, business intelligence, descriptive analytics, post-mortem analytics of what went wrong last month. But the real jobs of the future are going to be in the exploratory side. Mining data to predict. One of my friends runs a company who are actually the AI partners, Indian company called, I can give you the name also, called Sama Software. And Sama were the guys who actually went in and worked on the AI platforms for Pfizer. So the great vaccine that you see today, which is taking the world by storm, a lot of it was done by Indian intelligence actually going into the process. So if you look at it, it's predictive analytics. Okay, when Netflix knows that this is the kind of movies you like to watch. It's prescriptive analytics. When Amazon says you should buy this book because 47 people like you bought the same book, this is where the jobs are going to be created in the future. So there's a lot more of cognitive thinking that we have to do and not the repetitive jobs. When I started my career in the IT industry, The biggest jobs, as many of you know, were in programming and testing and application maintenance. Those jobs will all be robotized. So out of the current 43 lakh people in the IT services industry, 35 lakh potentially can become redundant. So don't take that threat trivially. But what is important is 30 lakh more jobs, new jobs will be created in storytelling, in sound and audio visual effects mixing, in augmented reality, virtual reality. So prepare yourself for that is the future. I think that is really where the job opportunity comes, because automation is for real. So let me very quickly move to the future of jobs. What is the power within you is obviously something that no institution has trained you for. I mean, the reason I'm so overeducated, mechanical engineering, BIT Ranchi, industrial engineering, NITI, then PhD, IIT Bombay, and Harvard Business School, is I always felt I was getting obsolete. And that's what Harari says. When Harari says that if you're a truck driver in America, you better change your vocation, because 5 years later, whether Tesla automates all cars or not, it's certainly going to automate all trucks, and the truck drivers' jobs will go. So he talks about the truck driver then learning yoga. And by the time he becomes a yoga teacher, finds that yoga has been fully automated by artificial intelligence. So I'm saying you have to keep thinking ahead of the curve, re-educating, relearning, upskilling. So just to give you a sense, the need of the times, if we say it's upskill and reskill, I mean, I've been privileged to be part of NASSCOM, where we have this complete platform we've created for called Future Skills, which has now been adopted by the government of India. And there's Future Skills Prime, which is being made available to every person who wants to understand something about technology. And it's more or less free. So I think that's important. But the way to learn in the future, and I'm saying this because I am speaking at XIME, which is a very progressive business school, is not so much through getting professors into classrooms, etc. I remember I was part of the team in Harvard Business School, which kind of conceptualized HBX. And HBX was designed as a platform. It said, look, everybody hates e-learning. Okay? I mean, nowadays we are extolling the virtues of e-learning. But don't forget that less than 12% complete courses on e-learning, and it's just too boring. Okay, so we said in HBX, we should encourage a Michael Porter to feel that, look, if I teach from the studios of Harvard, of HBX, I'm being more productive than teaching 80 kids in the best classroom in Harvard Business School. And if you actually go to an HBX studio today where they teach, you will actually find a console in front of you. And if you have 80 little people in screens in front of you, you don't look at the screen. Artificial intelligence will prompt you that on screen 27, there is a person who's falling asleep, okay? Because Big Brother is watching everybody. And you can actually say that, look, why don't you ask this question? It's not being prompted. So even a Michael Porter in the middle of his brilliant lecture can actually get that prompt and he can ask a question. It makes them much more student focused rather than just narrative focused. So essentially what you see in this very complicated slide is AI bots right at the extreme left will help you everywhere throughout the process. But you will learn in a good learning journey, not just from one professor doing a 20-minute or a 2-hour lecture, but through internal social networks, through teamwork and collaboration, through contextualized learning resources. You could learn from YouTube, you could learn from LinkedIn, you could learn from the classroom, of course, nobody's stopping that. And your learning will become part of the enterprise knowledge workflows. So you become a learner and a giver at the same time. And we've actually invested in a platform called Skills Alpha, which does exactly that. Okay, and when people see this, they blow their mind. They say, oh my God, as a student, can I learn like this? As a corporate executive, can I learn like this? Can I manage my own learning? Can AI help me? It's happening right here, ladies and gentlemen, in India. And I think that's the future of learning as we go. So let me stop with the last couple of slides. I mean, if you look at managers, what many of you are being trained for, what many of us as panelists have worked on throughout our lives, the old model was that everybody was similar, but we were just the big duck who either by fortune or by recruitment got called the manager or the leader or eventually the CEO or whatever. But they were all people like us. I mean, I have a client in Shenzhen, China. Of course, it's not very kosher to talk about China these days because everybody likes to hate China. But I mean, there's a company in Shenzhen. I mean, it's an electronics manufacturing facility. I mean, they've been a client of mine for the last 6 years. I remember 2014 when I went there, like any other electronics assembly facility, they had 3,000 Chinese women who used to come in the morning, work very diligently, make microprocessors, put their heads down after lunch for 15 minutes, actually sleep, get up and work. So the classic, what you imagine as a extremely focused, labor-intensive factory that made China. A year ago, when I went back to Shenzhen, the 3,000 women has come down to 300. Added 1,200 robots. Each woman is managing 4 robots. And this is this amazing coexistence of physical and digital. Remember I showed you in the first slide, physical, digital coexistence. So all these women have been upskilled and reskilled to work with the robots. So essentially what I'm saying is the future is connected physical digital relationships. So you'll have to build a love affair with tech. Nobody can say I'm too old to learn tech. I mean, today all of us are digital immigrants, all of us on the panel at least. Whereas many of you watching or hearing this might be digital natives and you're very used to tech. But this is going to be extremely important. So essentially what I'm saying is we have to work with Eva and Sophia. Eva was again one of those science fiction characters created. And if you look at Sophia, who actually visited us in NASCOM 2 years back, and Sophia is very intelligent. You talk to her, she'll talk back to you. It'll take some time for you to figure that Sophia is not human. There's a lovely video, if you Google Sophia, you'll find it, of Sophia speaking in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. At the end of it, the Saudi sheikhs made her the first non-human citizen of the country. So she's actually an honorary citizen of Saudi Arabia. And it's amazing. She is as human as you can get. Are we ready to work with Sophia? With all her artificial intelligence competing with our natural intelligence, and sometimes she's smarter than you are. That's the future of work, as we call it. And just to close with the last slide, the new wave of digital is going to be a lot of hype on 5G. It'll happen. Mr. Ambani will make it happen for India, I'm sure. Quantum computing, where quantum computing will now be sometimes 50 times as powerful as you can imagine. Augmented collaboration, where even through Zoom, today, what is our limitation in Zoom? That we can't really interact with somebody. Eric, whom we interviewed 2 months back, who's the founder of Zoom, said that, look, in the next year, Zoom will enable you to smell the coffee the other guy 5,000 miles away is having. So they're actually creating that ability. Zoom will enable you to get up and give a high five to somebody you're interacting with, and the person can actually feel the sensation of being kind of in proximity. I mean, it sounds impossible, right? But Sophia also sounded impossible. Watson also sounded impossible some time back. And are we, as young people preparing for jobs, prepared for this kind of future? So, and of course, what you're seeing on the right-hand side is cognitive automation. I mentioned cognitive RPA earlier. Social listening, where actually people are whispering all over. I mean, everything you say. I mean, just one last example. I mean, when I went to visit the IBM Watson team in Bangalore 3 years back, I found that the conversation got more and more exciting after every 5 minutes. And I actually talked to them and said, look, how did that happen? He said, look, before you came in, we just fed Ganesh Natarajan into IBM Watson. It told us everything about you. It told us that, look, within 8 minutes of your conversation, Ganesh will get bored and start fiddling with his mobile phone. So make sure you're entertaining every 5 minutes, okay? And then whatever that I was doing was being fed back into Watson through the microphones. And Watson kept prompting on their mobile phones, now ask him this question, now ask him that question. So imagine it's complete interactive intelligence. See what that can do to recruiting, see what can do to learning and development, see what that can do to Michael Porter teaching HBX. I think this is the future of what we're seeing. And the question we'll ask ourselves is, and I'll stop here, are we prepared for jobs of the future, which will be all about these things, and we keep learning, keep upskilling, keep learning as we go along. We're just writing a book which will be published by Bloomsbury early next week, which is actually called Accelerating Digital Success for individuals, for societies, for companies, and for the country. We're very excited about the kind of opportunities we've unearthed in 1 year of research around this book. Thank you very much. Let me stop by saying we all have a vision of the future. But as my favorite philosopher, Joel Barker, says, vision without action is just a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. But vision with action can change the world. So I'm very hopeful, professors and my co-panelists, that the kind of vision that we've all tried to create, if it's put into robust action by academic institutions, by the government, then those 14 guys in the Meerut tea shop will all get worthy employment, and we will truly make this country great. So thank you very much, and I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I should make an apology to you and others that you're pretty crammed for time. Your presentation should have taken 1 hour, and we should have been listening to you for 1 hour. The same thing happened to everyone, so our apology for that. But beautiful presentations, and I'm so sorry that you rushed through, and what a brilliant. And every one of you came so prepared and so well. It's a beautiful one. But I just want to ask one question to you, Ganesh. That is, look, we talked about all these kinds of things. New Sophia and whatever the other name is, reach that kind of level. But when I look at country like Japan or China, we used to have some good connection with China, Chinese universities. We go there and see Chinese students spending time in the library, the classes, group work, and all that. The same thing in Japan or Korea. Now you look at the kind of work habits that our students have, even the faculty have. So what I'm bringing out is one basic issue. Now we all know that this is what ABC. The China's progress 5 times compared to India. If we take the 1948 as a starting point, what is it that made them, and what is it that we are still lacking? You know, when I look at that and say the government says 24/7, everything is open, malls open, everything is open, but colleges cannot be opened. Postgraduate courses where only 150 students cannot be opened, but mall can be opened. Look at the kind of priorities. Look at the way that they understand what education is and habit is. These 9 months have played havoc on the students and on the teachers. When I look around and see what is happening.
But
Yes,
I think at one point I'd just like to make is, and I think there's a question also from Minnie, which I'll address also. She's saying that, look, are we as Indians prepared for the new skills building model? Now, let me tell you one thing. Okay, I mean, I've spent my entire life in India, barring a year in London and a couple of years in San Francisco as part of my job. But I really believe the potential of the youth in this country is outstanding. And as you rightly said, Professor, I mean, if you talk to the 14-year-old in one of the good schools in this country, I mean, there is nobody better than them. Why do you think the 14-year-old Indian kids in America are winning every contest there is? Because the sheer intellect is there. I have a problem with many of the colleges because sometimes, the colleges are not well equipped to arouse the curiosity of young people, and we kind of tend to teach them stuff which is obsolete. Hopefully, some of the business schools like XIME, etc., are allowing them to open their minds again. But I think if we allow people to open their minds, hopefully, a lot of people who have worked from home or studied from home in the last 9 months have learned some new ideas, new tricks. That's why I said, I'm an optimist. I really believe that once we get this vaccine and get people's fears out of the way, and hopefully, as you rightly said, Professor, the educational institutions open before we worry about 100% cinema theaters. So I think that will really give us an opportunity. If we miss this opportunity, I wrote an article in Financial Express yesterday on what I call the $200 billion opportunity of core hardware, core manufacturing. So many, there are at least 14 industry segments where we have completely lagged China, not because of intent, but because we just didn't have the policies, the enablement to do that. Why did IT services succeed? Because we had one visionary director of the Department of Electronics, which is today MIT, called N. Vittal. And Mr. Vittal created the STPI policy. And we all capitalized on it and built a $200 billion industry. Something like this, there are maybe 15 $500 billion industries waiting to happen. The youth is there, is available. We just have to, as I think all of you have said, provide the skills, provide the base by which young India can flourish. I'll shut up here because I've talked enough.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. One demand, we had to get you back again, all 5 of you. So we are so good. We realized what we are missing. We had to get all of you back, which we will do. We'll come back at you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We really have a lot of things to learn. Though I have one quick question on behalf of students. They keep asking, especially because they seek jobs in IT industries. The classical battle in their mind is having invested into MBA course, the jobs that they take. Sometimes it's too attractive to get to the big IT companies and enter the world. And startups also come and offer very lucrative type of jobs. Salary wise also they're competent. The battle always is, should I go with the established organizations or take a bet on joining the startups? What would be your advice, sir?
We'll ask K. Ganesh, the king of startups.
Go where your heart is.
So Ganesh, where would you, which kind of startups would you advise people to join as students?
No, so again, Ganesh and you know that I do come from a biased view. So in my opinion, it's very clear. See, I started my first startup in 1990 which is 31 years back, when there were no venture capitalists, there was no investors, accelerators, incubators, or no kind of ecosystem. And I think one of the guiding principle was, if you want to build something on your own, if you want to build something, it could be to make a lot of money, be self-independent, create an institution, create wealth. You literally cannot do it by renting out your time. There is only so much limited time that you have. Okay. You will get good salary to start with. But is that what you want in life? So my opinion is, if you have the opportunity, which today the ecosystem has got an opportunity, you have all, in fact, literally the world is conspiring to help you if you want to do a startup. The risk today is far, far lower. Why not? Why would you not do it? I think trying to replicate what I did when I passed out of IIM Calcutta, joined Hindustan Lever, Citibank, Asian Paints. Even today, they are employing from IIM Calcutta or join Tata Administrative Services. Those are the greatest jobs. Today, the world has changed. So, question is very simple. Why would you want to work in any organization? Anyway, work is getting disrupted. We talked about the kind of work is changing. Go ahead and start on your own. You have the whole wealth and the world available to help you. The risks are so much lower compared to whatever it has been. That's my, I mean, obviously it's a biased view because I come from that view. I think it'll, I mean, being outright, it'll be pure stupid if you don't do a startup now.
Thank you, sir.
That's an extreme view, Ganesh. Guys, don't take his word for it. If you get a great job, take it up and do a startup later.
Good to see two Ganeshes going wide apart.
I first met K.
No, I agree. No, I'm not saying forever. Sorry, I'm not saying forever. No, you don't have to do it now. If you are wanting, if you are the sole bread earner of the family, and if you don't end up earning any money on monthly basis, your family will go hungry and they will be on the street. Please don't do startup.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, Dr. Bala,
I was just saying, I met Ganesh in 1990 when he had just started his first startup. So his story has been spectacular, but everybody can't be a K. Ganesh or Meena Ganesh. So be wise in what you choose.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Bala, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, one question from student perspective again is, how much of AI technology as management students they should really get into, so that they become competitive to, work in those environments. What is your advice on that?
Yeah, how much means basically, I think, one is that one should understand what is the basic tenets of an AI, because many a time you may carried away with the kind of magic what you see, and then here on the periphery, and then you won't really have a hold on it. So one way is surely it will be highly useful to know at least what is the underlying the technology and the theory part of it, or the core part of it. Then you can extrapolate into many of the applications impact and take a right judgment where it can fit and what are its possibilities, what are the limitations. Secondly, that will enable you also to quickly grasp from the whole knowledge system, the ecosystem. That means which one has a real potential to be applied into the system, integrating and providing that. I think that kind of a thing should be required. So then you will be able to learn fast and at least you'll be able to assess fast and putting it in the right context from a management perspective. But there are still people could be really interested in going with more depth into this, to really creating new ideas and then new frameworks, and then that can go in that direction as well. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Ramoji? Are you there, sir? Mr. Ramoji, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there very much.
Okay, wonderful. You see, I'm I'm not from your area at all, technology area. I'm a generalist, more in the HR area. I keep reading.
Yes, sir.
Of my readings, one of the things I learned was that this AI and robotics are going to make a brave new world in the field of medicine and medical treatment, surgery, and that kind of things. An area where there will be huge difference that's going to emerge. Is that the way you see it? Is that the way the profession sees it?
Absolutely, sir. Especially the AI part that is making huge inroads. After all, the medicine is something which is more like I mean the established theories will be applied to see if a particular disease has a pattern or whatever. If AI can bring in that kind of knowledge, and if the decision making happens to be much more faster and also informed, and that is definitely going to help. In fact, AI has started helping the decision making and then treatment planning in a big way, and that's only going to grow. The moment we have better data and better information. The only challenge is that not much of the clinical data has been digitalized over a period. If that happens, I think AI is the solution. AI is probably the next doctor to treat every possible problem. And of course, the robotics have been playing a good role. We have heard many robotic surgeries happening day in and day out. So I think these two have a huge role to play in treatment planning.
And Ramoji, I think your hospitals were the first to introduce robotic surgery in the country.
You want to open the question?
Yes, it's one of the first, I would say, in the sense, in the same year, 2 hospitals have introduced. And yes, we introduced it almost about 8-9 years back.
Let's see, 10 minutes. We just. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. There are many questions. What I propose to do is, in the interest of time, I will obviously collate the questions, get the responses, and pass it back to the participants. That's my promise. So now I invite one of our brightest students of the senior batch, Nirupa Mary, who has been silent all the way through. She has been there from the beginning to pitch in, propose a word of thanks. Nirupa.
Thank you, Chairman and Ashwath sir, for facilitating the session. We have now come to the end of the day, and it gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the XIME family. I would like to extend our gratitude to our honorable guest speakers, Dr. Bala Muralidhar, Mr. Ganesh Krishnan, Mr. Ramoji T, Mr. Ganesh Natarajan, and Mr. Hussein Shariar for taking the time out of your busy schedule and imparting valuable insights, expertise on the topic New World of Work. Thank you for the inspiring session. I thank our beloved chairman, Professor J. Philip sir, for his constant support and all the other panel members who have joined us today. I also would like to thank the faculty members, Professor N.M.K. Bhatta sir, Professor Ashwath Shastri sir, Shanmugam sir, Mahesh sir, and all those who contributed to organizing this wonderful session. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants for being a great audience. Thank you for joining us today. And I know that all the participants have learned so much today with all these discussions. We hope you found today's webinar valuable